Well folks, it's a Monday morning, it's just gone 7 o'clock. I know this because I heard the church bells chime 7 in the far distance. I'm facing towards the rising sun. Here we go for a small cook up and breakfast in the woods. Hi guys, my breakfast is sizzling away. I've got a lovely mixture of last night's potatoes, some sweet chestnuts and halloumi cheese mixed in together. When it's heated right through, I'm going to chuck a couple of eggs in and make a sort of frittata-y type omelette-y thing. Competition I set, I think it's going well. A lot of you are on the right track, but I want to know what the specific use for these two items are. These two items did have a specific use, and I'd like to know what they were. Going to do a little bit in later on the birch polypore. I haven't got any with me, but I'm going to describe it, and I will probably go, for the sake of Mick, go through my Swiss Army knife, the Camper, which is very good. I tend to, even when I was chefing, all my knives were made by Victorinox, or Wegner as it's now known, so they're good knives, you know. Anyway, I'll come back to you in a minute because my breakfast is nearly cooked and my tea is getting cold. Kind of a cold cup of tea in the woods. It's a lovely morning. I've actually taken my jacket off. I'm feeling quite warm now. And Providence, oh yeah, Providence, and I shall talk a bit about that in a minute. It's not Rhode Island, but it's something that I found on the way in this morning. Next frame will be some more. If you're like me, you're a consummate tea drinker. I very rarely drink coffee, but I drink tea. And we have these often, left at the end. A small tip, before you bag it to pack out, put it to one side, and when you've done your cooking, often the bottom of your pans, if you've been cooking over wood, get a bit sooty. So grab said tea bag on the bottom of the pan and give it a quick wipe over. So when you can pack it away and give it a better clean when you get back home. It actually does quite a good job. And just drop the said item in your pack out bag. So there you go. Little cooking tip for today. Earlier I mentioned Providence. Now, while walking up to the woods today, I found this pan on the side of on the grass verge. It's a little sponge cake pan, cooking pan, and as luck for habit, that beast there fits inside that. So I've got now an ash catcher, and that sits on top of that, so I can protect the ground, because it is so dry here. In fact, how dry is it? I can pick wood up off the ground and it's not damp. In fact, it's quite suitable for cooking with. So that fits into that, which sits on top of that, which protects the ground underneath. Breakfast has been eaten. Very nice. The third brew of the day. Rather tasty. And of course put the tea bag to one side to wipe around the outside of my Crusader cup in a minute. Friday night, or last Friday night, show was the start of the new series of Wild Britain with Ray Mears. It's going to be. I'm going to have to wait till the DVD comes out to see the rest of the series, unless I can catch up with it on the ITV version of the iPlayer, because Fridays I'm normally working. It's just I happen to be off. Very good series. He started off in Scotland, not far from where I did the Journeyman, funnily enough. I did it in Dunkeld, a little bit further north of the Abernathy Forest, part of the boreal forest, and it was a very good series, or the start of a very good series. So red squirrels, ospreys, and some other wildlife, a bit of fungi, a few berries. Really good series. It epitomises everything that Ray is, really, because as he said, bushcraft just isn't about kit and making fires. It's about appreciating nature, going out there, not necessarily having a gay old time with a couple of knives and seeing how many trees you can chop down, but just sitting back for a while, watching the grass grow and doing a little bit of omphaloskepsis. If you know what that means, do send in a PM and I will tell you if you're wrong or you're right. Anyway, it is about appreciating nature. Right, Mick, if you're watching this, which I hope you are, I mentioned the Swiss Army knife camper, the sack camper made by Victorinox or Wegner in Switzerland. There you go, that's the little beast. Right, on it we have one corkscrew, to my mind the most important tool if you drink wine, on the thing. Also, bizarrely, some sort of hook. In fact, it has come in useful a couple of times when threading things out. I suppose you could always hang it upside down and use it as a pot hook. But no, seriously, I have no idea of any use for that. On this side you also have a stitching awl. If I can open it up, there we go. It's also got a reamer as well, so you've got a small eye there for when you're stitching with, and you can ream out. I've used that a few times for making holes. Very useful. Flip side, crown cap opener, flathead screwdriver, tin opener. Very useful. I don't often carry tins with me, by the way. Two blades. These are very sharp, as you probably well know. A long one and a short one. I do use these occasionally. And if I can find it, just flip this up. A very useful, as you probably well know, Mick, a very useful little saw. Great. I've actually used this for sawing wood. It's not, as you'll probably know, it's not a bad little saw for its size. And last but not least, and the one thing I do find very useful, pair of scissors. I've used these a few times when I've been cutting plasters. Probably the best one they do. I find it very good. There's a guy called Chris Thompson. He does an awful lot of hiking. He's been doing it for forever, it seems. He's walked all the major trails in America. He's done most of the trails around the world, and that's the only knife he carries is one of these. Of course, you've got the toothpick and set of tweezers. There's a thing to carry around with you every day. It's very useful. It often sits in my pocket with a small mag-light torch and a Fox 40 whistle. If I can find it, normally sits in with that lot. It's just like an emergency bush kit. I mean, the Fox 40 whistle, you always should carry a whistle with you, and it's a very useful piece of kit. I have another Swiss Army knife, which is like the next model down, that has a cross point screwdriver on it. As I said earlier, I've used Victorinox knives in my professional as well as my hobby careers. That's it, and it's a fine morning. I'm going to start packing up now, get ready to go home. But before I go, a little bit on the birch polypore. We all know what it looks like, we've all seen it, but it has three uses. Its first and most popular use is as a razor or knife strop, which is very, very good at. You let it dry a little bit. You have to get a nice size one, and you let it dry a little bit, and then you cut the meaty piece into little slabs. I've got a couple pieces indoors. Makes a very good strop. The underside, particularly in the spring, the very thin membrane can be used as a plaster, and it's quite efficient as a plaster. I've never actually used it, but I've seen people use it, and it is very efficient as a plaster and as an emergency plaster. And its third use, and I've only picked this up just recently when I was on my journeyman course with Claudia, the mycologist on the course. It's very good if you brew the meaty parts, not the pores, but the meaty part of the fungi, to brew. Boil it for about half an hour or so, 20 minutes, half an hour, in some water, and drink the resultant liquid. And it settles an upset stomach apparently, but I don't often, touch wood, I don't often have an upset stomach, and I tend to use ginger. You can also use the same method can also be used with a horse's hoof fungus, and that, when I can find the illustrations, I will be doing a little bit on another video. So fine day. I hope the Swiss Army knife thing was okay. I did go through it rather quickly, but best thing is to go out by one. They're not bad. I think they're about 20 quid, 23 pounds. Well worth their money. I've had that for a number of years now, that one. I know how sharp the blades are. It's not a tool that I would use all the time out in the woods. I prefer using a fixed blade knife. It does not have a tendency to close up on you. I'll say that's it. It's a great morning, and best thing I can do now is just to pan around and show you the sunshine. There we go. I'm in my usual spot. And it's a beautiful morning. If I unclip this, I can pan it round, and there's my little hound, Alfie the Wonder Hound. He's a good little dog. He spent the whole night with me. You couldn't wish for a better companion when out in the woods. Well, four-legged companion. My favourite companion in the woods is my darling Avalon, but she's working this morning. So it's sublime here. Haven't seen much wildlife of late. There was some the other night, mostly owls and squirrels. Well, I'm starting to burble, so guys, in a little while I will be home. Oh, good luck on the competition. As I said earlier, some of you have almost got the thing right. I want to know the specific use for these two tools. Some of you are nearly right, but we'll see. Anyway, got till the end of November. I shall put all the answers into a hat, and I shall draw the answer out, and hopefully, if I can get my arse into gear, weave up the bracelet or hat band. TTFN for now.